clinic. So today we are going to see an example application called as constrained application protocol in Node.js using Node.js. So constrained application protocol is simply called as CoAP, which uses a pattern called as request and response architecture. So already in our channel we have one video on MQTT. MQTT is based on publish subscribe model, whereas CoaP is based on request and response model. So now what we are going to do is in this video, so the step one is develop a Node.js code to run a CoaP server and generate some random data random sensor data. So that we'll be doing it. Then testing the CoaP application in Google Chrome browser. Okay, so in Google Chrome browser we have a plugin called as Copper plugin. So that plugin can be installed with a separate video. I have already published a video in my channel on this link. You can able to follow this link. So this is what we are going to see today in our example. Okay, now I am going to create two objects here. One object is called as REQ, another is RES. Both are in small letters. So request means it is a request. So usually request means it goes from the client to the server. So client means the browser. So from the browser we are going to send it to the server. And the response will be coming from the server to the client. So once through your browser, when you request something, the server will respond to you. Okay, so that's what we are going to do it. Now this is what the request what we are going to give via the browser. So instead of HTTP we use CoAP. So CoAP :/localhost :5683/CO2. CO2 is the name of the sensor, and temperature and humidity. So we are going to have a switch case statement for this three loops, and this is a Copper plugin. You might be checking it. Okay, so now I am just starting now my code first. So where first I am creating a thing where CoaP equal to require CoaP. So first thing is I am going to use my CoaP thing. So the name of the file I am going to use as coap.js. So this is what I am going to use it. So first thing I require is require CoaP. Okay, now to install, suppose in case if you don't have this, then how do you install it? So first thing you can able to use is sudo apt install node.js in your program, then npm. So you can install both these things. After you do that, npm install CoAP. So this way you can give these two commands. So but always go with this. So before you try this command, always give a sudo apt update. So sudo apt update. After that you can try out these commands. So this way we can able to do it first. Okay, so now I will come to the code here. So now I am going to generate a random data. So what do I do is I am just creating a function called as, so function, the name of the function is random integer, random int. I will put random int. Here I will have two things, max and minimum and maximum. So I can have a function like this. So what the function will return is, the function will return math.floor, then math.random into max minus min plus min. So this way I am going to generate, I am going to return a value here. So a simple random function. So the random function what will do is a math.random will be in float numbers, and that will be detected from multiplied by max minus min. Max min, suppose if you have a temperature of 0 to 50 degrees Celsius, so 50 minus 0 will be 50 into this value plus the minimum value. So that way I can able to add those values. So this way I can able to multiply the random value. So the value will be from 0 to max, that can be printed there. So this is what I am going to generate a function. So a first function I will be generating. So next thing is I want to create a port number. So where port number equal to, let me use the port number 5683. So this port number I would like to use. Okay, so now my logic starts at okay, fine. So CoaP dot create server. So you can see this is a system level command here. So CoaP is the name of the variable I have just created. So this CoaP and this CoaP resemble the same because this is a variable name. I am just using it here. And create server is the, I am going to create a server for the CoaP client, CoaP servers. So function, I will be creating a function here. So which have two variables, request and response, or two parameters what we call. request and response. So this, since this function does not have any name of the function, so these functions are called as anonymous function. Okay, so here this is where, so now I am going to display this information to the console.info. We will be displaying to the terminal some information. So what information I am going to use is CoaP device got a request from %s. So you might have seen in C programming. So what kind of this %s means it refers a string. So now in the request library I have a request.url. So what kind of request the server is giving. So this way I can able to explain this. Okay, so use a single quote. So request.url will be, so request is a name of the request library. So request.url means, so what URL request comes from the client to the server. So that request I want to print it in the terminal. So that will be helpful whether your client request is actually gone or not. So that way you can able to verify it. So this is where I would like to have. But again, in this example here, I want to use a JSON format. So I want to display on a JSON format. So JSON means JavaScript object notation. So object notation. So actually this is what the industrial standard now adopted for entire IoT applications. So how it looks like is, so let me say I want to use this way, CO2. So CO2, the concentration will be from 0 to 1000. So for example, if I want to have a value like this in a curly brace this way, and we have temperature TEMPERA temperature, and I want to use 45 degrees Celsius or something. Then I want to use humidity. So humidity I want to make it as in percentage, 67% or something like that. So this kind of format is called as a JSON format. So before JSON people were using XML based format, but XML consume slightly bigger file size because of the tags, but we will be using only the JavaScripts here. So JavaScript object notation. So that's what we call it as a JSON. So whenever you want to deal with the JSON, there's a MIME type called as, so what kind of how your internet handles the JSON format. So we have a MIME type called as application/JSON. So this is our MIME type, application/JSON. So this is what we are going to use. Now what we are going to do is other than application/JSON, I want to reject that. So that means only when the files when the output is coming as application/JSON, I would like to accept it, else I want to reject it. So that way I want to use the headers for that, the codes for that. So what do I do is I can use if request.headers, if request.headers. So this way I will request.headers. Since the headers is name of, it's an array, so we will be using accept is not equal to application/JSON. So application/JSON. /JSON. If it is not this format, so then I would like to response.code. So the server will be responding with the error called as 4.06 error. So 4.06 is kind of an error. So because the MIME type is not accepted. So then finally return a response.end. That means I want to complete that without any output. So this is what I would like to do on the response. So that means what, if from the server request, if the server request is not accepting JSON format, then obviously I would like to send 4.06. Actually you might have heard about 404 not found error, 500 internal server error in HTTP, but in CoaP we have something like in dots. So 4.06, 4.04, 5.00, like that we will have this response codes. Okay, so now my if statement is done. So now next thing is I want to use a switch URL. So switch, I want to use a switch case statement. So request.url, I want to create a URL for that. So a request.url. So request.url means what, through what request the URL is coming. So that way I can able to give it. So the logic is simple. So case I can use /CO2. So here I can use small letters for easier understanding. Break, then case temperature, TEMPERATURE temperature, colon break. But in before break I would like to do something. So case humidity. So humidity, then colon, then break, then finally default. So default we have we have something Okay, fine. So we'll do that. So now here what do I do is I have one function called as display output. I want to do create a function display output. In the display output I am going to send the output value here. So what do I do is res comma, I want to do that. So since it is CO2, so what do I do is I want to give CO2 colon, then it is random int 0 comma 1000. So the concentration I want to give this concentration, let me give it here. So this is what I am going to do it on this CO2. Okay, so now I open the curly brace, then close it. Okay, so this way this is the display output what I will be doing it here. So now I will just copy this, Control C, then paste it here and paste it here. So now here it is, instead of CO2 I will be using temperature here, TEMPERATURE, temperature, random int. Here it will go from 1050 degrees Celsius up to 50 degrees Celsius. Let me go. So even if you want to go with the -10 also, you can go from -10 to 50 degrees Celsius. So across, since it is only randomized value, so humidity will always be deal in terms of percentage. So that's why it is 0 to 100%. So let me give it as humidity. Okay, so and default, in that case default dot end. So we have this default it will be shown as display output an empty value. So display output response, that's all. So only an empty value will do for the default. So if you don't supply any URL, then automatically it will be showing only the display output value. So this is what I will be doing it here. Okay, so now my switch case statement gets over. So now I will be still my CoaP server is not get completed, so I will be doing it now. So then what do I do is I close this my URL here. Maybe I'll put next line dot listen port number. I already have a variable port number, comma, again I use another function here. If you don't want to complicate, so what you can do is you can able to use stop it here itself. So you can stop it here itself, listen port number. So then you can use a function called as console.log. So you can console.log CoaP server is started at port number 5683. So like that I can able to have a statement here. So this way I can able to do the statement here. Now this will be log means this will be informed when you start the CoaP server. So this statement will be printed. So now we have to write the display output function, we have to write it. So this function we have to write it, so because we have developed already. So function display output. So here we have two things. One is response, because we have seen the display output have two values. One is response, this thing will be the content. So let me use a variable name called as content variable name. I can use it here. So in that case what do I do is this is the content variable, and I'll use content here, if content. So if this content, this is what been originating, then how do I deal with it? So that's what I am going to do now. So response dot set option. So set option. So what option I want to set it is, I want to set a content format to be content format to be application/JSON. So application/JSON. Only in this case this code will work. Else it will throw a error message. Else response.code equal to 2.05. So 2.05 is the correct content. So that's why it is showing it. Then response.end. We have response.end. So we have this stringify. Actually in JSON format, according to JSON format, I would like to display everything. Then I need to use their own function called as JSON.stringify. So stringify, I want like to use stringify and content. So this function I will be using in case in case of the content format application JSON. If not, then what should I do? So that further I will use a else statement. Else else what do I do is response.code equal to, so the content not found equal to 4.04 equal to 4.04. So this you might have already seen 4.04. Then finally response.end. So response.end means the response completed after it gives you 4.04. That means if the resource is not found, then it will be showing that if the resource is found, it will be dealing with the application/JSON. So this way the display output function is done. So that's all on this code. Now in this case, so in our example here we have used the random integer. We are generating random integers to show the consent application protocol. In case if you are really doing a project, then these values, instead of random integer, these values comes from the sensors directly from Arduino board or a Raspberry Pi board. The value will come and you can able to print those values. So all these values come and stored in a JSON format. So this is what the beauty of this JSON application. So now having said that, we have done this code. Now we need to run this code. So for running it, what we have to do is first open a terminal. So when the terminal is opened, then the name of the file is coap.js. So it is somewhere in a home folder. So what do I do is node coap.js. Let me use this. So now you can see that the CoaP server is started at port number 5683. So as per the statement what we have mentioned here, so you can see here this statement, it's what mentioned. So the same statement is printed here. So that means the CoaP server is started. Now to check to check it is running or not, open the browser. So in the Chrome browser, because we have already added the plugin, so let me open. So this is the plugin here. So you can see this icon. So in case if you don't have anything, then you can go to Chrome CHROME ://extensions. So you can use this way, extensions. So you can see that already we have the extension. It is running here. Okay, so maybe they refresh it. So there are some errors anyway, no issue, no, don't bother about the errors. Now let me go to the extension. You can see there is a copper for CR, that is copper for Chrome extension. Click it. So once it is click it, it will be asking for the URL. So now my URL is localhost because my server is running locally. So localhost : 5683. I need to mention the port number. Then /CO2. I can use /CO2 here. Okay, so once I put enter, then so this is where the CoaP messages, you can see the CoaP message log. You might have read in the theory, the CoaP message log will be something like this here. So in that case, click fetch. So when you fetch it, you can see that carbon dioxide 695. Then fetch it one more time. So for every time when you fetch it, the carbon dioxide value is coming up. Okay, but there is an take on here. So here we can see the debug control here. So in the debug control here, when you disable the debug control and when you fetch it, you may get an error. You can see non-textual payload, you will get an error because the format what accepted is application JSON, and the content format also we have used application JSON. So in any of this case, this won't be visible. So now let me do it something. I'll enable debug control. Now acceptance, I will make it as text/XML, and here also I go with text/XML. Now when you see the fetching here, now you can see the fetching 4.06 not acceptable. You can see that 4.06 already we have given as per our logic. We have given this thing 4.06. It is not acceptable because we have requested only for the application JSON. So now for example the acceptance, let me give application JSON, and this content format text/XML. Now when you fetch it, it says that 2.05 content, there was a content formatting error. Yes, 2.05 content. It says the content format there was okay. Now still it's going on. So even the content format is something different. It's still going on. Now when I select this, now it says that unsupported content format. Now you can see that when the content format is blank, it shows that unsupported 4.15, which we have not mentioned, but it is showing here. So this is how the way the CoaP gets worked. Okay, so now we can able to select application/JSON here as well. Then when you try the fetching, so it will give you the complete fetching. Okay, now go to the end of the URL. Instead of CO2, let me use temperature, TEMPERATURE. When you see the temperature, now when you fetch it, you can see that temperature 24, 3, 4 like that, 5, 35 like that. You can get even minus values also coming up there. So this way, Now finally we'll go with the humidity. So we'll check all the three values. Humidity. When you check the humidity values, you can check that, see the fetching here, humidity 0, 80, 84, like that. You can see the humidity values here. So you can see the incoming values also you can see. So this is what the stringified JSON. So JSON is stringified as per the command. So when you copy paste in a textual window, so it will be completely stringified as per the JSON format. So this is what the beauty of the constrained application protocol that you can able to use. And since I'm using Google Chrome as one of CoaP client, but there are many CoaP clients available. Even your mobile phone, there are some CoaP clients. Even the terminal mode, there are some CoaP clients. But Google Chrome being a common popular browser, having a CoaP client is always an advantageous one. So what I will be doing, I'll be sharing this code in my GitHub profile. So GitHub/TS Pradeep Kumar. So you can able to follow that. And please, if you are not subscribed to my channel, you please subscribe to my channel. And here are some of my links here. So www.nsnam.com, this is my profile, this is my blog. Then GitHub/TS Pradeep. So this is my GitHub where you can download the source code. And please subscribe to my channel. So thanks for watching my video. Thank you, friends.